Hello, my name is Carrie Waugh, and I created this sculpture here for my Multimedia Essay for the Brooke Owens Fellowship this year. This is in response to prompt number 2. If you've ever applied to the Brooke Owens Fellowship before, what is the biggest way you changed or grown since your last application? So I'm going to take some time to show this off and sort of explain some stuff about it.
Starting off with some of the more general aspects of this design, with the prompt in mind, I really wanted the sculpture to embody those feelings and that idea of growth and change as you climb ever higher in the pursuit of your goals, and really convey some of those feelings and what I've felt seeing myself grow and change over the years. I took this in a more literal direction with showing this physical transformation of this frog through its metamorphosis into a dragon wyvern-like creature as it climbs up these increasingly steep rocks, which, starting at the bottom of the sculpture with the first figure, is just a simple little frog that gazes off into the distance, kind of unconcerned with what's going on around it, not actively trying to climb, but still resting a foot a step above it, just to sort of show that unintentional first step that's often taken to begin your journey before you even realize you've started it. Then we move up to the second figure, which I'll call the wormling, kind of this transition stage between the frog and the dragon. It now is actively climbing and clawing its ways up these rocks as it looks up at the figure above it with this sort of yearning as it's reaching up towards it. I also wanted the wormling to really show that sort of drive and desire to reach your goals, that passion that you're driven by as you see the beginnings of your results now tangible. For example, the wings of the wormling are too small right now, at least, to fly, but they still come with the promise of that, and that kind of represents that hope and that promise for the future. Then we move up to the final figure, the dragon, wyvern, whatever you'd like to call it. It's sort of perched as if it's either just landed or is about to take off in flight, as it kind of peers down at the forms below it in this appreciation and kind of wonder at just how far it's come. At least that was the intention with this design. You also might be wondering why I specifically chose a frog to be the starting point for this transformation, and that's for a number of reasons. First of all, frogs already naturally go through this big metamorphosis, so I thought, well, what if they went through another one? Also, the frog is modeled after a specific species, Latoria littlejohni, which is a species that I studied and spent my time in Australia writing a recovery plan for, so it felt fitting to have a sort of nod to my time there in a piece centered around my growth and change, given just how much of an impact my time studying abroad had on me. Also, in Aboriginal culture in Australia, frogs are often used to symbolize growth and change, so it was a bit perfect. Countless other little things I could point out about this sculpture, but moving on from all of that, the prompt asks what the biggest way I've changed and grown is. And with this sculpture, my answer to that is that the biggest way I've grown since this time last year would be in just how much better I've gotten at actually getting things done, at staying motivated and dedicated on and managing my time properly to actually get everything I want to done and do the things I want to do. This time last year, I hadn't gotten as involved as I wanted in my school space hardware club, in the rover competition, and any of that. I was content to give up before even trying to pursue my dreams of traveling abroad. And I left countless personal projects unfinished, just collecting dust on shelves. In fact, I had this sculpture that, to this day, is still technically unfinished, and I have spent years working on. And when designing this piece, I intentionally did it in a way so that it would be just as ambitious, if not more, than that one, to sort of prove to myself that I have changed and grown, to tangibly see how much I've improved, as far as just getting things done, but also my skills artistically. In the time since this time last year, I've gotten involved in multiple projects with Space Hardware Club. I've started actually doing things with the rover competition and doing important work with it. I've started getting involved with research under a professor at my university. I studied abroad in Australia over the summer, and I even completed a project as ambitious as this one. And by just staying consistent, staying dedicated to it, and not giving up halfway through. And for me, I feel like that's a really big milestone.